One of the things I love doing with folks who I respect, trust, and like is talk about what they've done this year and what they are planning for next year, especially individuals that are young in the game, got a couple of years, but are doing big things. And they are still clearly in growth mode. The guy that I'm talking to today, Dylan, meets all of those criteria and more. Dylan, how you doing, buddy?
Doing well, doing well. Happy to be on.
Awesome, man. Thank you for coming back each week. Thank you for keynoting or opening day 2 of our Vegas event here in a few months. So thank you for coming out for that. It's going to be a blast. But I'm curious. Let's talk about 2025 first. Obviously, we still have 5 or 6 weeks left. You can still get some meaningful things done. But when you look at 2025, not only, and again, I want to be clear, not only the business, but business, life, health, Dylan, the human being, Dylan, the brand. Um, what what are your first thoughts about 2025?
For me specifically, and those that I call close to me, I feel like 2025 for a lot of us have been more of a maintenance year than a growth year.
Okay.
Uh, Specifically, those of us that are actually flipping. People that are wholesaling, I think, are having a different experience because I think wholesalers don't have to take any of the risk. And
Hmm.
so people are still excited from like the highs of 23 and 24. So people are still aggressively buying deals. But I think the reality with flipping is properties are, sitting a lot longer, doing a lot more
Hmm.
price cuts. We've personally lost money on our first deal this year. We actually might lose money on another deal. So it's definitely a different market. So we're still, active and we're still buying deals. We're still underwriting tons all the time. We haven't stopped doing what we're doing, but it's definitely been a lot more of a maintenance year and gritting your teeth year than it has been before.
Yeah, it's really the one thing I will say for you is in a decade you will look back at 2025 is likely a success because I think a lot of people got over their skis, didn't really run a good business, and frankly, a lot of them went bust this year, and they're just gone. And yeah, I mean, when the market turns, it could hurt. You take a loss, you may take a second, but you keep moving forward. You buy better, right? You change your criteria, you underwrite differently to protect yourself next time. So I think in the future, while this 25 feels like a maintenance year, you'll see it as a lessons are sometimes painful, right? The pain's a great teacher, and I think 25 will do that for you. But let's talk about Dylan, the human being, right? One of the things I really respect about you is you live out loud on purpose, right? You're not just floating through life like a feather. One of the things I saw you do this year that I thought was amazing is you took a trip to South America, right? That's just one of the many things. Talk about that. Talk about living life on purpose. Talk about that a little.
Yeah, definitely. I appreciate you saying that. I appreciate the words. Yeah, I mean, this year's been tremendous for me in a lot of ways. I've got to learn a lot of new skills. I paid for a couple different coaches to learn different things about that I was curious about. That all that being said, like this year was also wickedly hard. In the same year, I had a breakup with a long-term girlfriend. I got my car totaled, and then I broke my back. So it was all of
Mm.
those things. To your point about 2025 being kind of a good year to look back on, I look back on it the same way in my personal life that I will eventually look back on the real estate market in 2025. Um, all of that was very, very beneficial for me because I think it's forced me to start living today as someone
Mm.
that's a professional tomorrow person and the delayed gratification person. It
Yeah.
really made me realize what was important and the things that I was pushing off. And yeah, so I just started taking trips and stuff and kind of really trying to build my business around my life and not the other way around. And so
Yeah.
yeah,
I think it was Tom Bilyeu, I think was the first person I heard say this. And if I'm wrong, it's not on purpose. It's just what I remember. But he
yeah,
talked about building a life resume,
yeah,
right? And I think about that now, way over 50. I got a daughter that's older than you, and I just worked. And sure, I've had some amazing stuff done the last 5 years. But I mean, one of my biggest regrets is I didn't take just little chunks of money, and maybe not even money. Maybe it could have just been time and build more memories when I was younger. Right? There's one thing to do these things when you're 50 something,
yeah.
totally different when you're 20 something and 30 something. So I applaud you for that, frankly, early wake up call. right? You're getting this done in your mid-20s. There's nothing like, a trip with the boys to South America, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Like there's memories you're going to have from that for 50 years. So that's pretty awesome. All right, let's step into the future. One of the things I always love to do with high achievers like you and motivated people and entrepreneurs, again, I'm jealous. I'm jealous of all of you that can do this. But when you look at 2026, what are some things you're kind of penciling in already?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's kind of a twofold thing. I want to restructure a lot of what I'm doing currently. For those of you that don't know, I'm not like a self-made man by any means. I've had a lot of mentors. I work with my dad, so I definitely have had to work to get to where I'm at today, but it wasn't at all by myself. And I think part of that restructuring is I'm going to kind of go on my own path
Mm,
next year. I'm going to lean a lot more heavily into wholesaling and then only buying deals that really make sense.
hmm
We didn't do a whole lot. We bought a 16 unit apartment building, but aside from that, in 25, we haven't really bought a whole lot to hold.
mm,
So next year, my biggest pivot is going to be locking up another seller finance deal because I just getting a bank loan isn't bad, but just in terms of like risk tolerance and I
hmm
think good debt, I would rather structure seller finance deals. I'm very
For
good at
sure.
articulating. So I want to buy
For
more
sure.
deals on seller finance. I want to do a little bit more wholesale for quicker cash conversions and only flipping like 4 to 5 deals a year that really make sense, and then wholesaling the rest and then keeping the ones that I can
Yeah,
negotiate.
the people that I'm seeing be successful in real estate today have made that conversion to, the accelerated capital conversion, right? A lot of people get in the game with flipping the last 3, 4, 5 years where it was easy, where even if you made a mistake, you made more money, right? Time bailed you out. And now it's just about cash conversion, right? Take the marketing dollars, get the lead, sell the contract, move on. But I do like the fact that you're still going to do, call it one a quarter, right? Take the most cherry
Yeah,
one and ring that out for yourself. I think that's wise. And then most importantly, I love the fact that you're like, hey, I'm going to add another seller finance deal, because one of the things I've learned in real estate over 3 decades is wealth is created via ownership, right?
100%,
Wholesaling and flipping are jobs. They're high paid jobs, but they're jobs.
a
When
thousand percent.
you're my age, you're going to be able to retire on what you own or hold, not
Yeah,
flipping. So
I want to
good.
add 2 points to what we're talking about right now. Number one, I'm not saying flipping is bad, by the way.
No,
Uh,
no.
and I think some beginners can take this out of context and use this to implant fear in their brain. I'm not doing that.
Mm,
What I'm saying is I think a lot of people, to your point earlier, get over ahead of our skis, and we've even done it in the last year. We got a
hmm
little bit loose with our underwriting and stuff. The problem is when you are buying deals and you're really trying to pencil it, and there's a 10% market change. And I'll give an example of a friend I have, a really close friend of mine in a different market. He's losing 300 grand this year. He didn't have
Oof.
300 grand to lose, but he's in a big market with big prices, and
Yeah.
he got ahead of the skis, and now he's having to completely pivot to an agent business because that's the only thing that's bringing him cash. Because a 10% market reduction for him, because he's $1 million price point, is $100,000.
Oof. Ouch.
Lose on 3 deals, it's a big deal. So all that to be said, it's not to say flipping is bad, but a lot of people I think are just jumping into deals because they're afraid of not getting them. I would rather
Mm.
you underwrite a gazillion deals and find the
Yes.
best one and then do that. So if you do have a little bit of a reduction in the market, you can weather that storm. Now, number two, the reason I tend to gravitate more towards seller financing as opposed to long-term debt. I have one seller finance deal in my portfolio. I have a duplex I co-own with my dad, and we have a 16 unit that we're going to be getting long-term financing or selling depending on the numbers. The reason I like seller financing is because you get what you negotiate, similar to a flip if you
Yeah.
generate the lead yourself. And
Absolutely.
it doesn't matter if the market goes up or down. The terms that I negotiated with the seller stay the same. And
hmm
so for me, in terms of risk tolerance and ability to weather storms, I find that is a little bit more. And Cody, who's going to be speaking at
hmm
at your event as well, does a lot of this. And so I'm a big
Yep.
proponent of that. And if you can learn how to articulate that, I think it's a really good way to hedge against the storm, especially with just some market uncertainty. I don't think the market's crashing per se, but there's a lot.
Yeah.
It's like this. It's very
I like it.
neutral in some cases going down. So
Yeah, I like it. I like it. Well, one thing I'm curious about, because I admire you so much for it, is your social media, right? Is that something you're going to lean into and really continue to build up the brand of Billionaire 123? Is that a goal?
Yeah, yeah, certainly, certainly. Yeah, I kind of I'm trying to look at different ways to continue to pour into my brand in a way that feels authentic. I've been very in the last year or so. I've been very mindful of like what my brand messaging is and what I'm called to talk about, and even just like how it feels. Because a lot of what stopped me posting in the beginning was just like I want to be like everybody else, and I think I've gotten a hold of a little bit more of that. So I want to lean
Mm.
more into my creativity with that and share the lessons and stuff, how I'm pivoting, how I'm doing my real estate business different because it does seem the way that I approach real estate in life, I feel like is different than some people that I respect. I
Oh,
take
for
kind of
sure.
bits, a bunch of different people that I like and kind of mold it into my own that fits me. So I want to continue to like add gasoline to that fire through my brand and through my social media. And I'd like to grow that a lot as well too.
Like it, like it. Well, let's get down to the finish line here on 2026. Do you already have the next boys trip planned, or is that more of a ad hoc when somebody thinks about it? Or where are the next where are some like wish list travel destinations?
Yeah, I'm actually gonna do something pretty crazy. I am getting rid of my lease as of January 1st, and kind of burning the boats because I'm in this transitionary period. And I'm intentionally not signing a lease anywhere else, and I'm just gonna take 6 months or so to kind of travel around the country.
Mm,
And spend time with people that are in real estate. I have a lot of people that buy mobile home parks and other people that buy seller finance deals on commercial. I'm going to spend a good deal of the year just kind of learning about their businesses and stuff like that too,
nice.
especially in my transition going solo. And then in March, once I kind of close doors with my dad and I'm going on my own. I'm going to take a month to go to Bali and kind of reset and recalibrate and kind of plan for the future and how I'm going to do this
Oh,
someday.
I love all of that. Oh, we're gonna have to do some shows from Bali. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
definitely.
Dylan, what any closing thoughts on any closing thoughts on 25 or what you hope from 26?
Yeah, closing thoughts, I think for like just everyone else, I think just stay educated. I think right now more than ever, I think taking action looks different than it did in 23 and 24.
Hmm.
The market was going like this, and so I think just getting in a deal and getting out of that analysis process was really good. I think action today looks like really, really understanding your market. It looks like really understanding days on market, factoring and holding costs, really underwriting like a lot of deals so that you know what a good deal looks like when it's in front of you if you're going to flip. The same is true with if you're going to burr or try to buy a rental. Make
Hmm.
sure that you're underwriting deals often every single week because it's a different market. So you need to
Yeah,
work harder to make the same amount of money. That's my two
love it.
cents.
Dylan, you're amazing. What is the IG page?
It's Dillionaire321, and you can find me. I post pretty much every day. So if you guys are
Nice,
looking to learn and see how we're kind of transitioning and stuff and doing what we're doing, I always share it on
awesome.
there.
Appreciate you, buddy. Later.